Welcome back. So, we've had these conversations about the young people running, young people wanting to come into governance. There are those who argue that the few young people who have been there have not proven themselves. So what's the guarantee that these ones coming in will make any difference?
Thank you very much for that question. And I totally disagree with the view that they're not good young people who are capable or competent to take up elective offices. What I would say is that using the yardstick of politicians or current politicians who have been tutored or mentored by the corrupt old bloc, they will only deliver. Yes, they have what I call the fruits of a bad tree. They only produce
chip of the old block.
Yes, they only replicate what their mentors have done. And what we are saying, what the advocacy for the youth is that we need a breath of fresh air. We need young people who have vision, who have leadership skills, who have leadership talents to take in and fill that void. Unfortunately, anybody who understands the political terrain will know that that is extremely difficult. Why? The Nigerian economy, the Nigerian political scene is extremely monetized, right? There's a lot of poverty in the land. And unfortunately, the young people are, shall I say, feel the brunt of that mostly because there are no jobs. People employ them, don't get them paid. So when you try and mobilize the youth to support, like my friend on the other side said, to try and support a vision, most of them are hungry. They have families to feed. So if you as a young man do not have the financial capacity to feed 1,000 people, automatically you're going to lose that fellowship. And what will then happen is the old bloc, who have all that resources and have hoarded it, are going to continue to perpetuate themselves in government.
So how does it get to change? Because the not too young to run law is there. But before that, we had young people who were wanting to come into government. In this monetized situation that we're in, approaching the next election, does it mean that the young people cannot get a chance?
Well, the young people, we're going to fill the space. We're going to demand a presence, right? I applaud a lot of young men and women who have stepped up to take on positions, House of Representatives, State Houses of Assembly, the presidency, right? It's bringing new faces to the political scene. And I know that most may not make it, and that's the truth. But the few of us that will make it, it's for us to try as much as possible to see how we can open the gates for the others to come through.
By making a difference.
By making a difference, yes, ma'am. And one of the things I would continue to say, because I'm also an advocate of entrepreneurship, and it's quite unfortunate that that's one of the things this current government preaches. But if you look at the current circumstances we're in, right, be it how innovation isn't promoted or how opportunities are eroded, lack of power, high interest rates at the bank, it's all there. So a young Nigerian, either as an entrepreneur or as an employed person, has numerous constraints that his peers in other countries don't have. So it's like working triple hard to not only try and develop your country, maintain your family, and maintain yourself for an average young politician who is not part of the old bloc.
Yomi, the concept, the mindset of the electorate is more or less tended towards the money part. I mean, I actually had a conversation with a young man here in Lagos who was going to contest for the state assembly. And from his neighborhood, according to what he told me, his friends, they play football together, they sit out together in the evenings, told him, go ahead, we're behind you. But he throws in the towel. I mean, he throws in the hat, ready to go. And during campaigns, he comes to tell them, okay, we've started the race. And they asked him, so how much are you dropping? And he goes like, what do you mean, how much am I dropping? And they say, the other man you're contesting against gave us 500 grand. So what's yours? And I say, but this is not what we said. I mean, we're all young, but we said we want to take out the money from the politics. And they're like, yeah, but we have to eat. So so he said, okay, let's hold this 50 grand. And they laughed. that was the situation in 2015 elections. Do you see that changing anytime soon? Because if these young people will make a difference, as we said, we've settled here now that they don't have the money power. If they will make a difference without the influence of the godfathers, then money has to be taken out. But do you think that will change?
Okay, I do not agree about young people coming to run or old people coming to run. I'm looking for competent people to run.
Okay.
The question of
young
age does not matter. I think we're not facing the right issue, talking about age as a factor in leadership. That's the reality.
So, okay, let's put it this way. Are the young people more competent, or would the young people be more competent than the older folks?
There's no science that backs age and competence. There's no relationship. Many people, tomorrow is Sunday, people are going to worship in churches. The man that led the Christian faith died at age 33. So there's no research that backs that the younger you are, the more competent you are as a leader. It doesn't even become anything in the equation. And that's my own point. The point is that let's develop a system where competent people come to run, whether they are young or whether they are old. Do you think the guy who lives in Dubai cares the age of his president? Do you think it makes a difference to him? While he wants to compete, I mean, and I'm sure, I mean, people will say, well, it's because you are not as young. The point is that why are we going to these rhetorics? Because of the fact that we have had failure of leadership. And so we're looking for alternatives.
So how do you...
So the point I'm making, because you're talking... Okay.
Let me put it this. How do you now measure competence? You say there's no law measures or whatever.